Black Bear Atheist. Today we're gonna try something entirely different. We're gonna check out a guy from Nigeria. I believe it's from Nigeria. Well, it's from Nigeria. I don't know if it's still in Nigeria, but that doesn't matter. It's Nigerian, and his channel is a Nigerian perspective with Frank Stephen. Obviously, his name is Frank Stephen. Um, I'm Nigerian. I'm in America currently, and I would just like to check it out. I've seen some of his short, his view on the LGBT community, the progressive mindset, and all that. They're very interesting. I'll say that. I'll give him that credit. So I just wanna check this out. Really, I think I. I mean, is Nigerian. I have to listen to him to an extent. Give him that credit. Not give him that credit, but he's Nigerian, and I have to just listen. Let's put it like that. The video we're checking out is Nigerian breakdown the doctrine of submissive wife. Now, he's a Christian. I want to see how it will actually look at the Western world and see how that different from his views as a Nigerian, because that's what this is supposed to be, a Nigerian perspective. I'm curious. That's why I'm doing this.
If there's one thing we have great disdain for in society today, it is oppression.
Just look at that. Jordan Peterson at his peak. One of the videos that made this man what he is today. Pain is everywhere. Men have experienced pain throughout history.
Well, everybody's bloody oppressed in the past.
Bloody
Jesus, human
oppressed.
history is a complete catastrophic nightmare. The more you read it, the more
Catastrophic danger. The more you read it, the more you feel depressed.
horrified you become.
And one thing that is in running for having the most connotation of oppression is the idea of submission.
Distinguishing between submission.
Also, I find it interesting how he does his videos. I think this is one of the first view I'm actually watching. I don't actually like it. Now, I should probably not comment on someone else editing because it's way better than mine in every single way. But it's just something about it doesn't sit well with me.
Submission and involuntary slavery isn't simple. And the word submission has connotations of involuntary slavery.
And no one hates the
music.
word more than women.
The music is weird.
If you find yourself abandoning your wants, needs,
No one used the word more than women. I don't really think so. I think rich people probably use the word more than women because they want everyone else below them, even though they try to cover it up. We live in a capitalist world and they want everyone below them to work for them. So you have to downgrade those people that are below. You have to downgrade those that are not as wealthy as you to make it make sense for them to work for you. If you get what I mean. Rich people, poor people. It's like a I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Let's keep going. This is supposed to be quick. Okay, I'm too lazy to like edit everything out.
desires to make something work, I'm here to tell you it was never a match to begin with.
It is the recipe for a hot button topic on every dating show on YouTube.
I don't know, the idea of submission it just did not feel good.
People have tried to define it.
I break it up into two words.
Okay.
Submission.
Mission.
Okay.
Make it sound less horrible.
But I do feel like the happiest women in the world are the ones that look up to a man.
But at the end of the day, the
Bro, that sounds like something a pastor would say. I'll break that word into two. Sub and mission. It is a mission that God has sent to us. Your mission is to sub to a man. Now, it doesn't mean you're a slave, but it means you have to sub and missive so you have to be submissive. That sounds like something a pastor would say. I swear to God, I've heard it from some preaching.
Word still reminds most people of oppression, even the worst form of oppression, slavery. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, submission is the act of submitting, a verb that means to yield or to be subject to the will or authority of another. And
again, keep this in mind, he is a Christian. So, again, how is he going to look at this from the New Testament and Paul's perspective on submission?
there is no denying it. This definition is unsettling for anyone in a modern society. Even the people advocating for women to submit to their husbands can't escape this reality, so they try to destigmatize it.
Slavery is forced
Yes.
submission. Submission, coming under someone's mission, is a choice.
That something is consensual doesn't make it any less harsh. The average human doesn't want to yield to the will of another. They are not fascinated or liberated by the idea of giving up their will or desires for that of someone else, okay? So should a woman submit to a man in a marital or long-term relationship? Is it fair to demand such a sacrifice from her? A great way to answer these questions is to consider the conversation around this subject, especially from the men who talk about it a lot. And notice something that they all fail to recognize, the source of the idea that they completely ignore.
I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
Okay, so I was an Andrew Tate fan. I really don't want to. I once was an Andrew Tate, fan in a sense. I thought this guy actually made sense. And then I realized he didn't, but then that's for another video. I was also this guy's fan. I was taking his workout advice, taking his, or not dating advice because I don't really date. So taking his life advice. He's a rich guy, so I thought that was when I thought capitalism is all about how hard you work. If you work hard, you're gonna make it. And I'm trying to learn from all these people that already make it. What did they do? What happened? How did they get there? Until I realized capitalism is all due to luck. Anyways, so it's interesting to see him in this video. I was gonna watch this Jubilee, but I saw that it was him and I'm like, it's gonna be stupid. And what he just said is stupid. If a woman don't look up to you, she won't respect you. That's dumb. Do you need your friend to look up to you before you... Do you need your friend to look up to you before they respect you? No. You both are equal and you respect each other. That's how relationship works. Respect. To be having her look up to you and you wanting that to be the king of the relationship shows you don't even respect her enough.
Few months ago, Jubilee published a middle ground episode between so-called alpha and beta males, and this question was asked.
Submissive women are more attractive than dominating women.
Oh, hell yeah. You know.
Most of the alphas were in favor of the notion, and all the beta...
My view, that is bullshit. Obviously, no, and no. If that's all I'll say, the answer is no.
As we are with no surprise against it. The conversation around the question was interesting and insightful. This guy, Justin, presents himself as an alpha in every possible way. He's so alpha that he couldn't sit properly, and he had a few...
This is why I had to watch this video. My Nigerian brother is funny. Though I don't agree with him on many views, he is funny. And most Nigerians, in their own way, if you can understand us, we are funny.
Interesting takes. They were unnecessarily hyperbolical.
I think one of the most beautiful things about love is being able to fully take care of a woman in every way, whether that's emotionally.
I'm not sure a woman wants a man to...
Also, you can't fucking take care of her emotionally when you're not emotionally... when she's more emotionally intelligent than you. Women are, based on the stats, it's been a while, but I think women are 10 years ahead of men on average on emotional intelligence. So I don't know what you're trying to take care of her, but she's 10 years ahead of you. On average, they are 10 years ahead of us.
To fully take care of her in every way. And I'm sure he doesn't mean it that way.
Everything about that, like every fairy tale that was ever written for all of time was about a man saving a woman from a castle and a dragon, right?
Why do you think that is? Society. How dumb is this guy? How fucking dumb is this guy?
But that's not the same as fully taking care of a woman in every way. A damsel in distress is not the same as a helpless paralytic.
Okay, so it didn't handle the question. It didn't handle this really well. I don't like how he handled it. Fairy tale story downgrade women, not like respect them. They need saving from a castle. They need saving from, they need a kiss from a man to save them from sleeping forever. Because they were so dumb, they touched a needle. A needle cursed with magic. Okay, I don't think they were dumb. It was just cursed. Anyways, all this story, it downgrades women, not respect them. Like, we finally, stories like Moana are better, but like Cinderella, they're just so, oh, men are so good. Women are so, again, back to the idea, submissive. This is what society projected few years ago, decades ago. Still, really, it's still deep in us to the extent that people still enjoy a good story like Cinderella. When I say good, a story like Cinderella. So, let's continue.
Look at the word submission. Sub, under, a mission.
Submission is not sub and mission, okay? It's the noun form of the verb submit, which comes from two
Bro, like submarines. He said sub and marines.
Latin words sub and mittere. Together, they mean to put or send under.
Truly, deep down, every woman would love nothing
See, my Nigerian brother is smart, and that is why I'm watching this video.
more than to be more feminine in a role in a family and take on that either that motherly role or that nurturing role or the role that feels supportive to the overall mission of a man.
Exactly.
Also, his name is Frank. I probably need to do another series on another Frank. Will you look at that?
And here is why he came to this conclusion.
Case in point, look at the workplace. You don't see women applying for jobs to be power line guys or hang steel at steel companies.
Again, society. They were indoctrinated to do things that are like in a family. A woman is most likely not encouraged to go for a job like a CEO or I don't know, industry worker, work outside, a farmer, or like the jobs that are supposedly manly. Women are not encouraged to do so, and if they show interest in that, they usually are turned quickly to the other side because society don't view them as a woman job. So it's a social influence. That's why it's that.
They're not picketing outside of the United States Army being like, why won't you draft me? They don't want that smoke, bro.
Yes, women don't want jobs or mission because they don't want the smoke from working in an oil rig. Even though Justin here also doesn't want that smoke either. Whatever he does to make his money, a woman can do the same. But somehow, he gets to identify with roughnecks and military men because they all have penises.
See? It's making sense. For now.
That's why women should submit to him and follow him.
You can be a woman. You're safe, sweetheart. You come with me. You see a high level of women on antidepressants more than ever, right? And I think that's a bunch of women trying to cope with trying to be like a man.
Justin is not only an alpha male, he's also a psychologist. It's not like having a menstrual cycle or being pregnant has anything to do with the negative emotions they often feel. It has to be their jobs and the fact that they have missions. I mean, ask yourself this question.
Are you more attracted to a woman that has a high-paying job or to a woman's beauty?
Points made, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like in places like Nigeria with harsh economic conditions, a woman having a job can make a reasonable man find her attractive. What matters is her beauty, okay? Because masculine men want beautiful, submissive, jobless, directionless women.
The more masculine you are, the more you want the woman to be submissive.
You had the man, but he's not done.
I don't need any back talk. I don't need any lip. I don't need any attitude. It's my way or the highway.
Some of the strongest women in the world right now are sitting in submissive roles because they're strong enough to think for themselves and do what they feel good in their heart. Because there are women that do want to be submissive naturally.
That's correct. Women with...
Yeah. So, like I said, not a good time when I was thinking these people were so smart and they were making sense. It was not a good time of my life. He is not making any fucking sense. He is obviously not making any fucking sense. Also, how would you know in their natural state women are submissive? There's no evidence of that. There's no fucking evidence for that. This is what happened when you have people that are so dumb. They just say shit without actually thinking. It just woke me up. By the way, I was just gonna cruise through this video. It just woke me up. This is what happened. And I'm 100% sure he's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Christian. Okay, a white American Christian. A white man American Christian. I don't even think those are arranged correctly, but it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's in their natural state to be submissive. Give me evidence of that. Oh, wait. There's none.
Jobs and missions. They don't know what they want, okay? But women without jobs and missions, they know exactly what they want, right? I mean, who can argue against such advanced next level logic?
You see why I love my Nigerian brother?
Things you said is like when you and your partner.
As I listen to these men talk about submission, I notice something. They are co-opting an idea that they don't understand. This is an idea from the greatest literature in Western civilization, the Bible, famously the 5th chapter of Paul's letter to the church in Ephesus. So to understand the idea of submission in marriage, you have to look at the book where the idea originated from.
So the idea of marriage comes from the Bible. The idea of a submissive marriage comes from the Bible. I don't think so, man. Actually, no, you're just completely wrong. Fuck my thinking. You're wrong. This has been an idea from for years before the Bible was even written. It's been an idea for thousands of years. Look at Chinese history, ancient history. Women are submitted to, in every single angle of their lives, submitted to men. You could see traces of this in literally every culture today. You could see traces of this everywhere. If you look through history, before your Bible become anything, before your Bible was written, this was what society was running on. That the idea that women obviously have to be submissive. They obviously are weaker. So obviously they're naturally supposed to be submissive to men. Obviously they're wrong. And obviously this is just more bullshit. Religion support this, the cultural context support this. So that's what was the idea. The Bible is not special. Paul was not special. If Paul at this time was saying give women rights and give women and women are equal to men, hell, Paul should be a saint because he is saying something that is out of his time. But that's not what we see here. He's saying something within his time when people were saying women are weaker, women are less. Which shows your God is also just full of shit. We understand today that women are equal to men.
The Bible essentially defines submission as obedience and slavery. It explains that a man is a slave to anything he obeys. So
you've been talking about how others are not able to even completely make sense when they're talking about this. How will you make any sense when the Bible clearly say being submissive is like us being a master, a slave submitting to a master? This is how Christians are depicting themselves even to the Heavenly Father or God. This is how they are seeing themselves. So how will you even get over this when the text was quite literal in what it was saying?
Wife should be a slave to her husband. Sarah calling Abraham Lord is an example of this. In fact, Paul told wives to reverence their husbands. But Peter
I still hate that fucking music.
Also said something similar to husbands. He told them to respect their wives, which Paul also re-echoed in a different way. Paul told husbands to...
Also, if you're gonna call yourself a fucking Nigerian, I don't know, play some Afrobeat. Maybe that sounds weird, but play something that was up. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. But last time I checked, he's the one putting Nigeria out there, which I feel like it's getting him views. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I'm tripping. Okay.
Love their wives, but not just by protecting and providing for her. No, like Christ loved the church and died for her. So to understand Paul's doctrine,
being submissive means like a slave to a master, but it also means what Jesus did. Does that make any sense, people? It also means what Jesus did by dying for us, dying for the church, dying for people. Does that make any sense? So from one text, you could deduct that being submissive means like a relationship between a master and a slave. From another text, it's saying being submissive, meaning the person that you're submitting to is the one that is actually doing the most, is the one loving, is the one caring, is the one dying, is the one sacrificing something. That does not make any sense, and that goes against the definition that you Google yourself, brother.
Of the husband's authority, we must look at the example Jesus set for his disciples. When the time of his crucifixion drew near, Jesus took a bowl of water, dressed up like a servant, and washed his disciples' feet like a slave would do for his master in the...
Okay, so side quest here. I just noticed that maybe I didn't just notice, I've been noticing this, that I am now recognizing Nigerian accent, and I'm able to hear a Nigerian accent from another Nigerian, which I was not able to do for a very long time. Now I can hear myself with an accent. It's weird.
Those days. Afterwards, he told them that the greatest in his father's kingdom is the servant of all, and he didn't come to be a master.
No, I won't say this.
But to be a servant. Speaking about him, the apostles...
Hell, why not? Why does this juice... Let me back it. Why does this Jesus look like a chubby Jesus? I thought Jesus was supposed to be skinny and stuff. Nothing wrong with being chubby. I am chubby. I'm just saying, I thought Jesus was supposed to be skinny. Moving on.
He didn't come to be a master, but to be a servant. Speaking about him, the apostles later said that he was obedient even to the point of death, a slave even to the point of dying for the ones he loved. And that's how men are supposed to love their wives according to the doctrine of submission. Nothing about that makes the man a master and the woman a servant. Nothing about that speaks of dignity.
What? Does not go against the definition of the words? If the relationship is described as a master and a slave, and then you're saying, well, actually, the master is supposed to be the one sacrificing himself. The master is the one supposed to be loving and caring and doing all this. Then that goes against the definition of a master and a slave. That goes against the understanding of a master and a slave.
And respect, but of suffering and sacrifice. It was said that Jesus disregarded the shame of dying on the cross. He told his disciples to love each other the same way he loved them and gave his life for them. That's what Paul and Peter were talking about. A love that submits and denies itself for the benefit of another. A love that turns you into a slave. But what we hear today from the dating
A love that turns you into a slave, then that is not love, my bro. That is not love. That's not love. That's not how love works. I guess, those who are owning black people, taking them from Africa, enslaving generations, love black people after all. They love us all. They love us so much. They love them so much. They enslave them. I guess that's what love is right now.
experts is what Jesus saw as an ungodly interpretation of authority, where those in power lord it over their subjects. Jesus is not that kind of king, and his disciples are not those kind of men. They exercise authority in servitude. They have been taught to compete and outdo each other in doing good and being servants. The idea is for everyone to submit to each other, which is how the famous instruction began. This has nothing to do with a woman having a job or being a stay-at-home mom. This is more than bringing the bacon home and fixing the kitchen sink.
Each of you should jointly submit to the spirit that makes your relationship redemptive and dynamic. So there's an element of submission in some sense that's involved, but it's not unidirectional.
Then break that fucking cycle. So apparently the Bible do say women submit to men as men submit to God. So you are all supposed to be submitting to this deity, to this being. Then break that fucking cycle. This is why religion is a fucking virus and a poison in society. Nobody should be a slave to anybody, including invisible man in the sky. It's an idea in their ads. It's an idea in their ads, entrapping them, putting them in a bondage. And I'm speaking in a poetic terms here, but that is exactly what is going on. The mentality is of a slave, which is terrible for society, terrible for people. Moving on.
And it's never been conceptualized that way, not by people who thought deeply about such things. And
the problem of the conversation around submission to
so please, man, don't look at Jordan Peterson as someone that has a brain. He doesn't. He's an idiot.
Is that it is one-sided in favor of the man. These modern men see submission as a woman's way of pleasing the egotistic desires of their husband. But that's a far cry from...
Not really. As someone that has been in the content and actually watch it. What am I saying? Not really. Yes, really. But you can also think of it in a different way, which I feel like they have convinced themselves. Most of them have convinced themselves that is what they're doing. The idea of man taking care of a woman and the woman being submissive is an idea, and I don't want you to get me wrong here, I am not for that. The idea is that there's a corporation. They're both technically equal, but the man is to lead while the woman is to follow. That's a role. It's a role play. And each role can be played to its perfection. Men are supposed to learn how to lead, and women are supposed to learn how to follow. They obviously have things they have to lead in by taking care of the family and all that, but in general, you want the man to be the one making the decisions. That's the general idea. As someone that has actually been diagnosed, like, I took the content in and thought it made sense, and like even trying to implement it in my life in a sense. Obviously that took a wrong turn, and obviously I didn't like go to the extreme. When I heard Andrew Tate trying to defend rape and all that shit, I was like, bro, shut up. So, yeah, that is the idea.
From the intention of the writers of the Bible.
There's a submission in that. That's the submission of maturity. That's the adoption of voluntary responsibility. That's putting away childish things. It's not doing today what you know will damage you or your partner tomorrow. It's foregoing impulsive hedonistic pleasure. All of that in the service of something that's genuinely higher.
If you can't do any of that, then submission shouldn't be in your vocabulary. Don't ask for what you can't give exceedingly.
Interesting. I don't think anyone should have submission in their vocabulary, man, including you. It seems that Christians don't understand that they are special pleading. They're doing what they call a special pleading. So submission in general means you're submitting to someone. In general, it means you're submitting to an authority, someone or the government, order, anything. You're submitting to something. But in a Christian context, it's quite different. Submission doesn't mean what submission means. Submission means love all of a sudden. Submission means you actually care. Submission means you're gonna die for the people that are submitting to you. Make some fucking sense, my Nigerian brother. Make sense. Religions of like slap you up, down, right, left to the extent that you're not making any fucking sense. That's it for today. I think I'm gonna create another playlist, watch some of his videos and put it on there. That's it. Have a great day.